when the power of God descends upon a soul that believes, time itself bends to the will of the Almighty. There are moments in life when human medicine stops, when science is silent, when logic fails, and yet, in those same moments, the hand of God moves faster than thought, faster than breath, faster than pain. There is a prayer that does not take days, months, or years to bring healing. It is the prayer that touches the throne of the eternal. It is the prayer that heals disease in seconds. My friend, when you stand in the presence of the living God with faith that cannot be shaken, you are standing before the creator of your very cells, the designer of your blood, the master of every nerve, bone, and heartbeat. The disease that frightens the body does not frighten God. The diagnosis that terrifies your mind does not trouble the one who made you from dust. There is nothing too hard for him, nothing too advanced for his wisdom, nothing too incurable for his word. When God speaks, cells rearrange themselves. When God breathes, tumors dissolve. When God stretches forth his hand, diseases vanish like mist before the sunrise. Many people pray, but few pray with power. Many call upon God, but few touch him with faith. A prayer that heals in seconds is not a long, eloquent prayer. It is not filled with complicated words or endless repetition. It is a prayer born from absolute trust. It is the cry of a heart that knows there is no other source but God. It is a moment when the human spirit and divine will meet, and heaven responds instantly. When the prayer of faith is released, something supernatural happens. The spirit of sickness loses authority. The weight of affliction breaks. The body that was once under oppression suddenly begins to realign itself with divine order. You must understand this. Disease is not greater than God's design. It may dwell in the flesh, but it cannot override divine command. God's voice created life. Therefore, his voice can restore it in a second. What took years to damage can be undone in moments when faith meets power. There are people who think healing must take time. They believe that even God works slowly. But when faith is alive, time is irrelevant. A second in the presence of God is enough to reverse years of pain. A whisper from heaven can accomplish what medicine cannot. You are not waiting on God. God is waiting on faith. The moment your spirit aligns with his will, healing is no longer a process. It is an explosion of divine order manifesting in your body. You must stop approaching God as if he were limited. You must stop praying as though you are uncertain. Doubt is the greatest delay in the spirit realm. Fear is the greatest disease of all. The prayer that heals disease in seconds is not born in fear. It is born in authority. When you know who God is, and when you know who you are in him, you do not beg for healing. You command alignment according to divine will. You do not cry in despair. You declare in power. You do not ask if. You proclaim because God lives, you live. Because God speaks, sickness must obey. The world will tell you to depend on systems, on procedures, on the slow process of recovery. But the word of God says that he sends his word and heals them. Do you know what that means? It means healing is not a distant future. It is a word away. When God releases his word, it becomes reality. When you align your prayer with that word, disease has no choice but to submit. It cannot resist divine authority. It cannot argue with divine power. The cells in your body are not loyal to sickness. They are loyal to the Creator. When you pray, do not speak from the place of weakness. Speak from the place of divine strength. The person who prays with fear prays from the ground. But the one who prays with faith prays from the throne. You are not speaking to God as a beggar. You are communing with Him as His creation. You are returning to the source of all healing. There is no wound He cannot close. There is no organ He cannot recreate. There is no pain He cannot erase. Sometimes healing does not come because people pray with divided hearts. One part believes, another doubts. One part speaks faith, another fears the outcome. But healing in seconds comes when the heart is fully united with God's will. When your spirit, your words, and your faith all agree that God is able, heaven releases power that the human body cannot resist. The command is simple: be whole. And the moment that command is uttered in faith, wholeness begins its work instantly. When a person learns to pray with complete surrender, the body becomes a vessel of divine energy. Prayer is not just words, it is transmission. When you pray with faith, you open the channel for divine current to flow through you. God's energy, God's life, God's light begins to move through your veins. Your immune system awakens. Your cells respond. Your blood begins to vibrate with the rhythm of divine life. Healing is not magic. It is divine reality manifesting through prayer. Some of you have lived with disease for years. You have accepted it as part of your identity. You say, this is my condition, this is my fate, this is my cross. No. You were not designed to live in constant affliction. You were created in divine image, and that image carries the power of renewal. God does not design failure, nor does He delight in your suffering. Disease is a distortion, not a destiny. And when you stand in prayer with faith, you are not asking for something new. You are reclaiming what was originally yours, divine health. When you pray, visualize the healing power of God flowing through your body. See it as light, pure and unstoppable, washing every cell, cleansing every organ. Speak life over your flesh. Speak health into your blood. Speak vitality into your bones. The words you speak in faith are not empty. They are containers of divine energy. When you speak them under the authority of God, they carry creative power. The very air begins to shift. The unseen world responds to faith-filled sound. The prayer that heals in seconds is a command issued in alignment with divine order. Do not wait for a sign to believe. Believe, and the sign will follow. The moment you say, God, I trust you, something in the unseen realm begins to move. You may not feel it yet, but it has begun. You may not see it yet, but it has already taken place. Healing begins in the spirit before it is visible in the flesh. But when faith is complete, even the physical realm catches up quickly. What happens in the spirit can manifest in seconds in the body when the prayer is pure. Remember this: God is not moved by tears alone. He is moved by faith. Tears may touch the heart of heaven, but faith unlocks the hand of power. The one who prays with confidence shakes the invisible realm. Faith is not emotion. It is knowing. It is the quiet but unshakable certainty that what God has spoken is already done. When you pray from that place, your body becomes a field for divine manifestation. There was once a woman who prayed for healing for years. She visited many doctors, tried every treatment, but nothing changed. One day she stopped asking with fear and started declaring with faith. She said, "God, you created me. You are my healer. I am not asking for you to heal me tomorrow. I receive it now." Within seconds, her body began to tremble, and the pain that had tormented her for years vanished. What happened? She stopped begging and started believing. That is the difference between waiting and receiving. God does not respond to hesitation. He responds to conviction. If you want a prayer that heals disease in seconds, you must stand before Him without double-mindedness. You must believe that healing is your divine inheritance. You must know that His power is greater than any report. Even if every doctor says, "Impossible," heaven does not recognize that word. There is no impossible in the language of God. The only limit is unbelief. Many people ask, why doesn't God heal everyone instantly? My friend, the power is constant, but faith is variable. God's power does not fluctuate, our trust does. The current of divine healing flows eternally, but your heart must plug into it. When you align your faith perfectly, healing flows instantly. It's not about God moving, it's about you connecting. When faith makes full contact with power, seconds are enough. If you want to pray with healing power, purify your heart from doubt. Let your faith become absolute. Remove every trace of fear. Do not pray while thinking about what could go wrong. Pray knowing what must go right. When your faith becomes total, God becomes immediate. The delay is not in heaven, the delay is in hesitation. Speak your healing as truth, not as wish. Claim it as reality, not as request. Speak with authority, and your body will obey. There are prayers that move mountains, but there are also prayers that move atoms. When faith is present, even the smallest molecule obeys divine instruction. If God can part seas and calm storms, can He not correct the chemistry of your body in a second? Can He not restore nerve endings, dissolve growths, balance hormones, or renew sight in an instant? The body was made by His word. It can be remade by His word again. Every breath you take is proof that divine energy is still sustaining you. You must realize this truth. God does not need time. Humans do. We measure healing in stages, but He measures it in obedience. If He says, "Be healed," the only response reality can give is, "Yes." The universe itself bends to the voice of its creator. When that voice is released through your prayer of faith, healing becomes inevitable. Even in the silence of your room, when you kneel and whisper your pain to God, He listens. But more than listening, He acts. The invisible hands of divine mercy reach into the fabric of your being. The same hand that shaped galaxies is shaping your recovery. Do not underestimate the moment of prayer. It is not small. It is the meeting place of heaven and earth. One prayer spoken with faith can shift your destiny forever. When your faith grows to this level, you stop chasing miracles, and miracles start chasing you. Healing becomes natural, not exceptional. It becomes your reality, not your request. The same God who formed the stars also designed your DNA. The moment you speak His word in faith, creation responds. the law of divine restoration activates. This is not imagination. It is spiritual science, divine law at work. The moment you truly believe, the healing becomes instantaneous. When you pray, say, God, I thank you that your power is flowing through me now. I thank you that disease is dissolving, pain is leaving, energy is returning. I thank you that I am healed now. Speak it until your spirit believes it. Speak it until your cells respond. Speak it until your faith becomes sight. The more you declare divine truth, the less room fear has to live. The more you magnify God's power, the smaller your disease becomes. Some of you will experience it suddenly. You will feel warmth or peace or energy. Some of you will sense nothing, and yet the healing will have already begun. Do not rely on feelings, rely on truth. Healing does not always announce itself with fireworks. Sometimes it arrives like a gentle whisper. But when faith is present, it is done whether you feel it or not. Never forget the power of prayer is not in how long you pray, but how deeply you believe. A single second of pure faith is more powerful than 1,000 hours of doubt. When the heart and word align perfectly with God, even a whisper can shake the heavens. Pray not with fear, but with fire. Pray not as a request, but as a release. When you open your mouth in faith, divine life flows through you like lightning through a conductor. And when you are healed, testify. Declare what God has done. For every healing that occurs in seconds is a testimony that will awaken faith in others. Your miracle becomes the seed for someone else's breakthrough. Healing is not only for your body, it is for your purpose. God restores you so you can restore others. He heals you so you can become a living witness of His eternal power. When a person truly learns how to pray, they step into the timeless dimension of God's power. In that realm, seconds become sacred, and what once seemed impossible becomes inevitable. There is a sacred secret hidden within every genuine prayer. It is not in the words you say, but in the power that carries those words. You see, when the heart and the tongue become one in faith, the vibration of your prayer pierces through the unseen barriers of doubt and calls down divine intervention. It is not the noise that moves God. It is the depth of trust behind it. Every disease has a sound. Every affliction has a frequency. But the voice of faith overrides them all. When you begin to speak with the authority that comes from total surrender, your words begin to echo with divine energy. You are no longer speaking as a fearful human being. You are speaking as a vessel through which God's power flows. The disease may scream in the body, but your faith speaks louder in the spirit. That is why when a person prays from that divine alignment, healing can come instantly, because the voice that speaks faith is not your voice. It becomes God's voice through you. The prayer that heals in seconds does not start in the mouth. It begins in the heart. It is the inner assurance that God is not just listening, He is acting. When your inner conviction becomes stronger than your outer condition, the miracle begins. Some people speak words of faith, but think thoughts of fear, and that inner contradiction blocks the flow of divine power. You must let your mind agree with your mouth and your heart agree with both. When all three are united, God's power flows without resistance. It is then that a tumor disappears a chronic pain ceases, a body begins to vibrate with divine life. There are people who pray as if they are trying to convince God to care, but you do not need to convince God to love you. He already does. You do not need to persuade Him to heal you. He already wills it. The moment your faith aligns with His will, it happens. God's nature is not hesitation, it is abundance. He is not withholding healing to test your endurance. He is waiting for you to trust Him completely. Faith is the open door through which divine power enters. The moment that door is opened wide, healing rushes in like light flooding a dark room. Think of the sun. It shines continually, giving warmth and light to everything it touches. Yet, if you hide behind a wall, the light cannot reach you. The problem is not that the sun stopped shining. It is that something stands in the way. So it is with God's healing power. It is always shining, always available, always ready to flow. But fear, doubt, and unbelief build the walls that block it. The prayer that heals disease in seconds is the prayer that tears those walls down. It is when you finally say, God, I believe you. I trust your power completely. There is nothing standing between you and me. In that moment, the wall collapses and light floods the soul, and the body follows. There is a language that only faith can speak. It does not use words of worry, but words of victory. When faith speaks, it says, I am healed, even when pain still lingers. It says, God is working, even when the evidence has not yet appeared. It says, the power of God flows through me now, even when weakness is visible. Because faith is not limited by sight, faith creates sight. The body eventually manifests what the spirit already knows. The unseen becomes seen because God honors the word spoken in trust. Sometimes people say, I have prayed many times, but nothing happened. The question is not whether you prayed, it is whether you believed. Because when true faith is ignited, even once, that single spark can set the heavens in motion. God is not counting how many times you repeat your request. He is waiting for the one moment when your heart truly lets go of fear. That moment of total release. When the soul says, God, it is in your hands and I am free from worry. That is when the miracle begins. It is not striving that moves God, it is surrender. There is power in surrender that many do not understand. To surrender does not mean to give up. It means to align. It means to say, God, you are the ultimate authority over my body, my mind, and my destiny. It means to hand over every anxious thought and every ounce of self-effort. And when you do that, divine energy begins to move unhindered. Because healing is not you trying to convince God. It is God convincing your body to return to its original state of perfection. The human body was designed to respond to divine order. That is why when you pray with faith, your body reacts even before your mind can comprehend it. Your cells listen, your blood obeys, your heartbeat synchronizes with the rhythm of divine will. You become a living testimony of God's creative power in motion. This is why people have experienced instant healing. Not because God suddenly decided to act, but because their faith finally allowed His power to be felt. The power that heals is not far from you. It is within you. The very breath you take carries the energy of divine life. Every inhale is proof that God has not left you. Every heartbeat declares that His Spirit is still sustaining you. When you acknowledge the presence, prayer shifts from begging to believing. You are no longer asking for God to come. You are awakening to the truth that He already dwells within you. Healing then becomes not a future event, but a present reality. In moments of deep faith, people have felt warmth spread through their body. Others have felt peace wash over their mind. Others still have felt nothing. And yet they were healed. Because the presence of God does not always announce itself with sensations. Sometimes it moves silently, invisibly, yet powerfully. What matters is not what you feel, but what you know. When you know that God's power is at work in you, no evidence of sickness can stand for long. Let me tell you something that will transform the way you pray. Stop fighting the disease and start affirming the divine. When you fight the disease, you are still focusing on the problem. But when you affirm the divine, you are aligning with the solution. Say not, I am sick, but God's life is working in me. Say not, I am in pain, but God's power is restoring me. Speak not from the position of suffering, but from the position of divine strength. The prayer that heals in seconds is not a prayer of resistance. It is a prayer of realization. You are not asking for something to happen. You are declaring what already exists in divine truth. The greatest transformations occur not when we cry harder, but when we believe deeper. There are tears that touch heaven, but there are also tears that drown faith. Cry, but let your tears water the soil of trust, not the roots of despair. Let every tear you shed say, God, I know you are faithful. Because faith and emotion are not enemies. Faith gives emotion direction. And when faith and feeling move together in trust, the power of God responds instantly. Some of you have carried sickness for so long that you have begun to identify with it. You call it my disease, my condition, my problem. But those words tie your spirit to your pain. The first healing begins when you change your language. Stop calling it yours. It does not belong to you. You are not the sickness. You are the soul that God breathed life into. You are not what afflicts you. You are what God declares you to be. And when you begin to speak from that identity, your body begins to obey that truth. The prayer that heals in seconds is not a performance. It is an awakening. It is the moment when you realize that God's power has always been available, that His healing light has always surrounded you, and that your belief opens the gate. It is not about the length of your prayer. It is about the strength of your trust. The deeper your trust, the faster the manifestation. Even when the world around you doubts, even when others question your faith, stand firm. Do not let the opinions of men weaken your conviction. People will tell you healing takes time, but God exists beyond time. People will tell you that recovery is gradual, but God operates in the eternal now. Faith does not wait, it receives. Faith does not hope that something will happen. It knows that something already has. The moment you believe, the power begins to move. And when the healing comes, give thanks. Gratitude seals the miracle. Gratitude is the final act of faith. It tells God, I recognize what you have done. Even before you see the change, thank Him. Even before the pain leaves, thank Him. Gratitude pulls your heart into alignment with divine flow. The thankful soul becomes a magnet for divine favor. When you thank God in advance, you are declaring that you already trust His outcome. And that declaration activates more power. Let your prayer life become an atmosphere of gratitude and faith. When you pray, do not plead with desperation. Speak with confidence. Do not focus on the sickness, focus on the source. Lift your heart above the circumstance and let your words become pure light. Speak from the center of your being. God, you are my healer. Your power flows through me. My body is whole because you have willed it so. Speak it not as a wish, but as a declaration of divine truth. Do not underestimate the quiet power of a few seconds of pure faith. One breath filled with divine awareness can do what a lifetime of worry cannot. One whisper of total surrender can open the gates of heaven. In that sacred moment, when your soul fully trusts, time loses its meaning. Healing happens because the eternal has entered the temporary. God's power does not need duration, it needs invitation. When a human being prays with total confidence in God, the unseen realm begins to vibrate with divine activity. Prayer is not just sound, it is energy, it is movement, it is life flowing from eternity into time. Every word spoken in faith becomes a vessel that carries the creative force of God. When your heart is pure, your faith unwavering, and your voice steady in conviction, you release divine fire into your body, into your home, into your world. That is why some prayers heal not in months or days, but in seconds. Because in those seconds, the human spirit becomes one with the will of God. The power that heals is not in human strength. It is in divine connection. Disease thrives where there is separation from God, but healing rushes in where there is unity. The moment you return your focus entirely to God, without distraction, without fear, without argument, your body aligns with its original blueprint. You were not created for decay. You were created for divine vitality. Every cell in your being was designed to obey the law of divine life. When you pray in perfect faith, that law activates again, and the disorder must disappear. It cannot stay where divine order reigns. There is a reason the heart of prayer is stillness. The moment you still your mind, the presence of God becomes visible to your spirit. In that sacred stillness, healing is not requested, it is revealed. The disease that once looked like a mountain becomes nothing more than a shadow before the light of divine awareness. That is the prayer that heals in seconds, the prayer of pure awareness that God is all-powerful, all-present, and absolutely good. When you rest in that truth, divine energy floods through your being, and wholeness manifests without struggle. Do not measure your healing by symptoms, measure it by faith. Many stop praying because they look for signs in the flesh before believing in the spirit. But faith reverses that order. It believes first and sees later. You must understand that the spiritual world governs the physical world. The body is a servant to the spirit. When the spirit says, I am healed, the body eventually conforms. The speed of that manifestation depends on the strength of your faith. And when your faith is absolute, when no thought of doubt lingers, then the change happens instantly. Some wonder why certain prayers feel unanswered. It is not because God withholds, it is because fear blocks. Fear is the shadow that interrupts divine flow. When fear speaks, faith becomes silent. But when faith speaks, fear dissolves. That is why you must guard your inner dialogue. You cannot speak faith for 5 minutes and think fear for the rest of the day. Healing flows where the mind is stable, where the thoughts continually affirm divine truth. You must build your mental environment around belief, because your body listens to your thoughts. It mirrors the state of your faith. There is no disease too strong for God's power. There is no pain too old for His touch. There is no diagnosis too dark for His light. Even when the world calls it incurable, heaven calls it temporary. God can rewrite what science cannot. He can reverse what time has done. He can renew what was thought dead. The only requirement is belief. If you will open your heart in complete trust, you will find that healing does not need to be earned. It only needs to be received. Prayer is not about convincing God to move. It is about convincing yourself that He already has. It is about lifting your consciousness to match His reality. The moment you stop asking from lack and start affirming from abundance, your prayer gains authority. God does not respond to uncertainty. He responds to conviction. The prayer of conviction carries the fragrance of trust. It declares healing as truth, not as hope. When that conviction rises, heaven has no choice but to agree, for truth cannot deny itself. You must understand that divine healing is not limited to physical change. It is a total restoration of being. When you pray with deep faith, God does not only touch your body, He touches your soul, your mind, your emotions, your memories. The energy of divine wholeness moves through layers unseen, cleansing away bitterness, guilt, and fear. Because disease often begins in the heart before it reaches the body. Anger can poison the blood, worry can weaken the immune system, and grief can shut down vitality. That is why true healing starts within. When your heart becomes light, your body follows. When you stand before God in prayer, do not come with a heavy spirit. Come with expectation. Come with joy. Come as one who already knows the outcome. Even before the evidence appears, celebrate the reality of God's power. There is a sound of victory in the language of gratitude. When you thank God before the healing appears, you declare your faith in the invisible. And when heaven hears that sound, it releases the power that makes the invisible visible. Gratitude is faith made audible. It is the music of divine trust. And so, let every breath you take remind you God is here. Every heartbeat declares His power sustains you. Every sunrise whispers His mercy renews you. Live in that awareness, and sickness will fear you. Because disease cannot dwell in a heart that burns with divine faith. Pain cannot thrive in a mind filled with divine peace. Weakness cannot remain in a soul that walks in divine strength. Lift your voice, not in begging, but in certainty. Say, God, I trust you. I rest in your power. I receive what you have already provided. My body is healed. My mind is restored. My spirit is renewed. Speak it with conviction. Speak it until your soul trembles with assurance. Speak it until you feel the vibration of heaven move through you. That is the prayer that heals in seconds. the prayer that springs from unwavering faith and fearless surrender. Because the truth is this: God is not slow. His power is not delayed. It is humanity that hesitates. The moment faith becomes complete, the moment fear vanishes, the moment surrender is total, healing becomes immediate. It does not need to build, it simply appears. For where divine will meet human faith, seconds are enough. And in that sacred meeting, the impossible becomes inevitable, and the broken becomes whole again. Listen to me very carefully, because what I'm about to tell you is not an accident, not a coincidence, and not just another word you scroll past. This is a divine announcement from the throne of heaven. God's favor is about to hit your life like a tsunami. You may not see it coming, but it is already gathering strength. You may not feel it yet, but the waves are forming in the unseen. When it comes, it will sweep away every trace of defeat, wash off every limitation, and flood your life with blessings you didn't even have the faith to ask for. This is not a gentle drizzle of grace. It is not a sprinkle of goodness. It is a tidal wave of divine favor that will strike suddenly, powerfully, and undeniably. It will break barriers that have held for generations. It will overturn verdicts that have stood against you. It will silence every voice that said, it's over for you. Because when God's favor moves, it moves with unstoppable force. It doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't knock gently. It crashes through every door that man tried to shut. For too long, some of you have been standing in dry ground, believing, praying, holding on, but nothing seemed to move. You've been asking, when, God, how long must I wait? And the silence has made you weary. But hear me, when a tsunami builds, it builds quietly at first. The sea pulls back, the horizon goes still, and it looks like nothing is happening. That's the season you've been in, the pulling back before the eruption. God has not forgotten you. He's been gathering power. He's been setting the stage for an explosion of favor so great that even your enemies will have to stand still and admit, surely God has done this. There are moments when heaven decides to move not gradually, but violently. When the favor of God doesn't come like a whisper, it comes like a roar. And those who have been faithful in the drought, those who have kept believing in the silence, those who refuse to give up when everything inside them screamed to quit, those are the ones about to see the floodgates burst open. Because divine timing is not slow, it's precise. God does not delay, He prepares. Every delay you faced was not denial. It was construction time. God was preparing the magnitude of your miracle. Some of you thought you were forgotten, but you were actually being hidden. God hid you not to punish you, but to protect you from premature exposure. Because if you had received His favor too soon, you would not have been ready to handle it. He was building the vessel that could carry the wave. And now the wave is ready, and so are you. When this tsunami of favor comes, it won't just change your situation, it will redefine your identity. People who once overlooked you will certainly need your presence. Doors that were bolted shut will swing open without you even knocking. Those who once mocked your faith will come asking for your prayers. This is what divine favor does. It reverses the natural order. It places the last in front. It exalts the humble. It transfers wealth, position, and opportunity into the hands of those who kept trusting God in obscurity. God's favor is not random. It is not luck. It is divine strategy. It is heaven deciding to accelerate your destiny. You see, favor does what labor cannot. You can toil for years and nothing seems to move. But one moment of a divine favor can accomplish more than a decade of a human effort. You don't need the approval of men when you have the endorsement of God. You don't need a connection when God Himself decides to promote you. Favor will speak your name in rooms you've never entered. It will place your image on the hearts of people who have the power to bless you without even knowing why. When God's favor rises, no power of darkness can resist it. It doesn't matter how long the storm has lasted. When the tide of God's grace turns, it washes away every trace of struggle. Some of you have faced rejection after rejection, but rejection is often the disguise of redirection. God shut those doors because He knew they were too small for what He's preparing to release. That no you cried over was heaven protecting you from settling for less, because when the tsunami of favor hits, it doesn't take you back to where you were. It carries you far beyond what you thought possible. Do you know what happens before a tsunami? There's a sudden withdrawal. The water seems to disappear. People think it's over. But that disappearance is a sign that something massive is building beneath the surface. The same is true in your life. The withdrawal you've been feeling, the loss, the loneliness, the silence, it's not the end. It's a sign of incoming power. When God pulls back your sea, He's about to return it multiplied. Every loss will be repaid with the increase. Every delay will become acceleration. Every wound will turn into wisdom. There is a rhythm to divine favor. God does not release it all at once, because favor given too soon can destroy a person unprepared to handle it. So He refines you first. That's why you've been misunderstood. That's why doors closed that you begged to open. That's why relationship ended that you thought you needed. God was pruning you so that when favor comes, nothing in you will collapse under its weight. You are being positioned, not punished. The silence was training. The waiting was molding. The pain was proof that God was still working in secret. Now, I want you to feel this truth. Deep in your spirit, you are entering a divine season of overflow. Not ordinary blessing, not manageable increase, but overflow that overwhelms your enemies and astounds your friends. God's favor is not just coming to fill your cup, it's coming to flood your land. It's coming to touch every area of your existence, your health, your finances, your relationships, your purpose, your peace. You are about to be surrounded, saturated, and submerged in divine favor. And when that happens, do not be surprised when some people cannot handle it. There are those who celebrated you in struggle but cannot stomach your success. That's why God will not allow everyone to go with you into your next season. When the wave comes, it separates. It elevates what can float and sink what cannot. So do not grieve the ones who cannot stand your favor. They were not built for this level. Some connections must dissolve for elevation to occur. When the wave of favor lifts you, it will also wash away the shallow things around you. God's favor does not come to make you comfortable. It comes to make you influential. It's not just for your convenience. It's for His glory. When He blesses you, it's so others will see what divine faithfulness looks like. You are meant to become a testimony that speaks louder than words. Your life will become living proof that those who wait on God never wait in vain. The coming wave of favor is also a test of stewardship. God is not blessing you just so you can build the comfort. He's blessing you so you can build the impact. When favor finds you, don't use it to boast. Use it to bless. Don't use it to impress. Use it to influence. True favor is measured not by how much you receive, but by how much you release. The tsunami that's coming is not meant to stop at you. It's meant to flow through you. You will become a channel of divine goodness, a river of blessing to those around you. And when God's favor begins to move, Do not underestimate how quickly it can turn things around. What took others years will take you months. What seemed impossible will suddenly become natural. There will be no logical explanation, only divine fingerprints. Your life will begin to accelerate in ways that leave people speechless. Because when God decides to favor you, even time bows to His will. Delays dissolve, obstacles crumble, and opportunities appear from nowhere. Some of you are standing in the threshold of this moment right now. You've been tested, you've been refined, you've been prepared, and now the heavens are aligning for your breakthrough. You may feel the ground trembling beneath your spirit. That's the wave coming. Don't run from it. Don't doubt it. Position yourself in faith, because when it hits, you must be ready to receive it. Get your heart in alignment. Get your mind free from fear. Get your spirit open to abundance, because the tsunami of favor does not stop for hesitation. It moves for faith. Faith is the key that unlocks the floodgate. God's favor responds not to tears, but to trust. It responds not to panic, but to belief. You must believe even when nothing makes sense. Because faith is the signal heaven waits for. When your heart declares, God, I still trust you, even in the drought, that declaration becomes the magnet for favor. And when that faith reaches its peak, heaven answers with force. There are people who will not understand how quickly your life changes. They will question how someone who was struggling yesterday could suddenly be flourishing today. They will call it luck, but you will know it was divine timing. Because God can turn obscurity into influence overnight. He can transform rejection into recognition in an instant. That's what divine favor does. It accelerates destiny without explanation. And let me tell you something. When the wave comes, it will not ask whether you feel ready. It will come because heaven has decided that your time has arrived. You have cried long enough. You have been overlooked long enough. You have waited long enough. Now the heavens are saying, release. You have endured your drought. Now comes your deluge. The floodgates are open. The tide is turning. The current of divine favor is rushing toward your life right now. You will feel the shift in your spirit first. A stirring, a sense that something is changing even before your eyes see it. That's how divine favor operates. It starts within. It ignites a faith that cannot be shaken, a confidence that cannot be explained. And that internal shifter prepares you for the external flood. Because when God's favor finally manifests, it doesn't come to an unprepared heart. It comes to the one that stayed faithful when no one was watching. Your future is not waiting for your effort, it's waiting for your surrender. When you stop striving in your own strength and start flowing with God's timing, that's when you attract His favor. You don't chase it, it finds you. You don't earn it, it chooses you. And when it chooses you, nothing and no one can stop it. This is your moment to stand still and let God move. The tsunami is already forming in the spirit. Every prayer you whispered, every tear you shed, every time you refused to quit it, all built the pressure in heaven. And now the release is coming. Get ready. The favor of God is not coming slowly, it's coming suddenly, overwhelmingly, uncontainably. What's about to happen will not make sense. It will not fit logic, but it will carry the undeniable mark of God's hand. When God decides to move, nothing in creation can resist Him. The mountains tremble, the oceans roar, and destinies that have been locked for years suddenly burst open. The moment the command is spoken in heaven, everything begins to rearrange itself in your favor. What you thought was stuck begins to shift. What you thought was lost begins to return. You are not forgotten. You are being positioned for a supernatural surge of divine power. This is not an ordinary season. This is a divine interruption. God is about to disrupt the pattern of your life with something so extraordinary that even you will have to pause and say, this can only be God. When the favor of God hit like a tsunami, it does not just bless you, it rebuilds you. It restores the pieces of you that pain tried to break. It lifts you from the depths of weariness and breathes new strength into your spirit. Some of you have been walking through invisible battles, smiling in public but crying in secret. Yet every silent tear has been a seed. God has been watching, collecting, and watering those tears. And now He's turning them into a harvest of favor. The pain was never wasted. The struggle was never meaningless. It was divine preparation for the overflow that is about to come upon your life. You see, favor is not a reward. It is a revelation of divine mercy. It is God saying, I still have plans for you. Even when you stumbled, even when you doubted, even when you felt unworthy, God was writing a new chapter of grace. And when this favor wave comes, it will not consult your past. It will respond to your faith. God does not bless you because you are perfect. He blesses you because He has chosen you for purpose. And once heaven decides that you are next, no earthly system can deny it. The reason you had to endure long seasons of stillness was because favor is not released to the untested. Before a tsunami rises, there is a great depth of stillness beneath the ocean. That stillness builds pressure, and pressure creates power. You are not being ignored, you are being prepared. Every disappointment was a weight pressing down, creating the force that is now about to propel you forward. The greater the stillness, the stronger the wave. The deeper the pain, the higher the elevation. That is the mystery of divine timing. God allows the ocean of your life to go silent so that when the wave rises, it rises with unstoppable strength. God's favor will not just bring you things, it will bring you transformation. It will change how you think, how you walk, how you see yourself. You will no longer live from a place of lack or fear, but from a place of a divine abundance. You will stop saying, can I make it? And start saying, I was born for this. Because favor not only changes your circumstances, it awakens your divine identity. When the favor of God rests on a person, it gives them confidence that cannot be shaken by human opinion. You begin to walk with a quiet assurance, not arrogance, because you know who backs you. You know that the hand of God Himself is upon your life. And when God's favor begins to manifest, the natural will no longer be able to explain the supernatural. People will look at your story and wonder, how did they come so far, so fast? They will not understand that divine favor is acceleration beyond the human logic. You will find yourself in places you didn't plan, meeting people you never knew, stepping into opportunities you never pursued. Because when favor moves, it draws everything you need toward you. You don't chase it comes, you don't beg it arrives, you don't strive it aligns. But listen closely, favor also attracts opposition. When God begins to elevate you, not everyone will celebrate you. The wave that lifts you will also disturb those who stayed behind. There will be whispers, doubts, and envy, but none of it can touch you, because favor not only elevates it, protects. The same hand that promotes you shields you. The same God who opened the door becomes the wall that surrounds it. So do not fear the criticism. Do not be distracted by the noise. The noise only means the wave has hit. The shaking only proves that the power of God is active. Some of you have been afraid of stepping into the unknown, thinking, what if I fail? But divine favor is not fragile, it is fierce. When God decides to favor you, even your missteps turn into miracles. The wrong turns become redirections. The closed doors become guidance. The lost opportunities become lessons that prepare you for greater ones. God's favor does not eliminate mistakes, it redeems them. It takes what was meant to break you and turns it into what builds you. The same tide that threatened to drown you becomes the tide that carries you into destiny. Favor does not only lift individuals, it transforms generations. The blessing that is about to hit your life will not stop with you. It will overflow into your children, your family, your community. This tsunami of favor is generational. It will rewrite family histories. It will break cycles of lack of fear, of failure. Where there was once scarcity, there will be abundance. Where there was once shame, there will be honor. Where there was once wandering, there will be purpose. Because when God chooses to bless a person, He uses them as a seed to bless an entire lineage. And make no mistake, favor is not fragile, but it is holy. It must be guarded with humility. When you step into this divine overflow, do not forget who brought you there. Do not let success blind you to the source, for the same God who lifts can also withdraw. But when you remain rooted in gratitude, when you continually acknowledge that every open door is a divine act, favor will never stop flowing. Gratitude is the anchor that keeps favor from drifting away. There are moments in life when you sense something greater calling you. You can't explain it, but your spirit knows something is shifting. That inner stirring you've been feeling, that sense that the old season no longer fits, that's not restlessness, it's revelation. It's God whispering, prepare, the wave is near. When the wave of divine favor approaches, you start feeling disconnected from things that once satisfied you. You lose taste for mediocrity. You begin to hunger for more, not out of greed, but out of divine alignment. That hunger is the spiritual signal that your next level is approaching. When God releases favor, it does not merely decorate your life, it defines your destiny. It is the invisible hand that opens the right doors, the unseen force that causes things to align in your favor, even when logic says otherwise. And once that favor hits, everything connected to you begins to shift. The way people see you changes. The way circumstances respond to you changes. Even the way you think begin to rise to another level. Because divine favor does not just change your environment, it transforms your mindset. It rewires your understanding of what is possible when God stands behind you. There are moments in life when it feels like you've reached the edge, when every option is gone and every effort feels wasted. That is when the divine wave builds its highest. God waits until the breaking point to release His abundance so that no one can claim the credit. When He moves, He does so in a way that leaves no question as to who is in control. The barren ground will blossom. The locked door will swing open. The very people who dismissed you will be forced to recognize that it was not human effort, but divine orchestration. And you must understand this. Favor does not follow comfort. It follows obedience. God's favor often finds those who dare to step into the unknown, those who trust the voice within, even when the path ahead looks uncertain. When you obey God, you position yourself for overflow. Every act of surrender, every moment of quiet faithfulness becomes a seed that draws favor toward you. The unseen world takes note of every choice you make to trust instead of fear. And in time, those invisible seeds break forth into visible blessings. When the tsunami of favor hit, It will move with such force that things you struggled for will begin to come easily. Where there was resistance, there will be release. Where there was delay, there will be acceleration. But hear this truth. Divine favor is not given to feed laziness. It is given to fulfill purpose. God does not release power so you can sit still in comfort. He releases it so you can rise in destiny. When favor flows, you must flow with it. Move when God moves. Speak when God prompts. Act when God stirs your spirit. Because favor is not meant to be admired. It is meant to be used. There are blessings that come only to those who can carry responsibility. That is why your journey has been so heavy. God was strengthening your foundation. He was building your endurance so that when this flood of favor comes, you will not collapse under its weight. Many people desire blessing, but few desire the discipline required to hold it. God's favor is not fragile, it is powerful. And to handle power, you must be grounded in humility. So if your process has been painful, take comfort in this. God was preparing your soul to handle what your mouth prayed for. You must also learn to protect your favor once it arrives. Not everyone will celebrate it. Some will question how you rose so quickly. Others will envy what you carry. But you cannot waste time explaining divine decisions to human minds. God did not need their permission to bless you. Therefore, you do not need their approval to continue. Silence will be your shield. Let your result speak. Let your peace be your proof. Favor thrives in quiet hearts that stay focused on purpose, not on the opinions of others. When favor begins to expand, you will also feel a divine stirring to give more, to help more, to bless more. That's because favor was never meant to stay confined within one life. It's meant to overflow. The ocean never keeps its waves to itself. It sends them outward. Likewise, when God releases abundance upon you, it's so that others may taste His goodness through your generosity. The more you release, the more the current returns to you. Divine favor circulates through those who give freely, knowing that their source never runs dry. And let me tell you this, the moment the favor begins to flow, fear will attempt to whisper. It will say, what if it ends? What if it's too good to be true? But you must silence that voice. The favor of God does not come to tease you, it comes to establish you. It is not a passing breeze, it is a permanent ship. As long as your heart remains aligned with the source, the flow will not stop. The only thing that can block divine favor is unbelief. Doubt builds walls, faith builds bridges. So keep your heart open, keep your expectation alive. The power of favor also lies in discernment. Not every opportunity is divine, and not every open door is yours. When favor floods your life, you must learn to listen even more closely to the inner guidance of God. He will show you which doors to enter and which one to ignore, because sometimes the enemy disguises distractions as blessing. But if you walk in sensitivity to the voice of God, no counterfeit opportunity can deceive you. Favor without discernment can lead to confusion. Favor guided by wisdom leads to dominion. This wave of favor is not just about material blessings, it's about alignment. It will bring divine connections into your life. People will appear who carry the next piece of your assignment. Doors will open that lead not only to success but to purpose. Because divine favor never moves aimlessly. It always moves with intention. God does not bless you randomly. He blesses you strategically. Every breakthrough has meaning. Every elevation has assignment. Every increase has responsibility. And you must also remember, divine favor will demand separation. There are people and environments that cannot survive where you are going. When the wave rises, it does not carry everything with it. It leaves behind what cannot float. Do not weep over what God removes. Every departure is divine pruning. Every loss is divine protection. The wave is not sent to isolate you. It is sent to purify the circle around you so that what remains can move forward in strength. Do not be afraid of standing alone for a season. When God isolates you, He is not rejecting you. He is upgrading you. He hides you in solitude so He can reveal you in strength. The private years of discipline are the roots that sustain public favor. If you are still in the hidden stage, rejoice, because when the unveiling comes, it will come with acceleration. What others built slowly through human effort, you will accomplish swiftly through divine favor. And let this truth settle deep in your spirit. The same God who brings the wave can sustain it. You do not need to manipulate or maintain favor by human strategy. All you must do is stay connected to the source. Keep humility alive in your heart. Keep gratitude flowing from your lips. Keep faith burning in your spirit. Because favor is not possession, it is a partnership. When you walk in continuous surrender, God continues to pour. The favor that's coming will not just elevate you, it will cleanse you. It will wash away the residue of every season of disappointment. You will wake up one morning and realize the pain that once haunted you no longer has power. The bitterness that once chained your heart will be gone. Divine favor will not only bless your hands, it will heal your soul. Because true favor is restoration. It returns what was lost. It renews what was broken. It revives what was dying. And hear me, when favor touches your life, it will come suddenly. It will not announce itself with a warning. One moment you will be standing in the familiar, the next you will be standing in the miraculous. Because when God moves, He moves in an instant. The same God who spoke light into existence can speak breakthrough into your situation at any moment. So, do not measure divine timing by human calendars. Favor is not delayed. It's delivered precisely on schedule. You are being prepared to carry something extraordinary. That is why the journey has been so intense. You are being strengthened for significance. You are being molded to handle magnitude. God does not build small in those He plans to raise high. Every storm you faced was part of your spiritual conditioning. Every hardship was a classroom where you learned endurance, humility, and faith. And now, as this tsunami of favor rises, you will understand why it had to take time. You will see that nothing was wasted. Every tear watered the ground for this coming harvest. When favor arrives, remember this, it is not about status, it is about service. God will raise you not just to bless you, but to use you. He will place you in positions where your influence becomes a tool of compassion. He will give you resources not to boast, but to bless. He will lift you up, not so people can see you, but so they can see Him through you. This is the sacred purpose of divine favor. It makes your life a reflection of God's greatness. And when you walk in that level of divine grace, your atmosphere changes. Your presence begins to shift rooms. You become a carrier of peace. People will sense something different about you and not know what it is. That something is the fragrance of divine favor. It radiates from those who dwell in harmony with God. It cannot be faked. It cannot be bought. It is cultivated through deep intimacy and consistent trust. When God's favor comes, it does not knock softly. It breaks every door that once shut in your face. It does not whisper. It rolls through your life like a mighty wave that no man can stop. It does not ask permission. It takes over. And when it takes over, everything changes. Those who once looked down on you will look up in awe. Those who once doubted you will be silenced by the evidence of God's goodness. Those who once abandoned you will realize they left too early. For when God's favor hits, it elevates you beyond explanation. It places you in rooms you didn't qualify for, opens doors you didn't even know existed, and sets your feet on paths you never imagined you'd walk. Do not doubt the timing of God. Do not question the silence of the waiting season. The silence was never rejection, it was construction. God was building the foundation strong enough to hold the weight of the favor that's about to flood your life. He was strengthening your character, purifying your heart, and preparing you for visibility. Because when this wave of divine favor hits, you cannot afford to crumble under its weight. You must be stable, grounded, and humble enough to handle the glory that's about to surround you. The time of smallness is over. The time of hiddenness is over. The time of merely surviving is over. The favor of God is not just coming, it's accelerating. It's rushing toward you like a tidal wave, unstoppable and overflowing. It will not be a drizzle, it will be a downpour. It will not be a whisper, it will be a thunderclap of blessing that echoes through your entire existence. God is saying, I have seen your tears, I have counted your nights, I have measured your pain. Now watch what I do next. When this favor arrives, you will understand why certain things had to break, why certain people had to leave, why certain doors had to close. It was not punishment, it was divine preservation. God was clearing the path for something greater. He was protecting the soil of your destiny from contamination. Because His favor does not settle where there is clutter. He separates you before He elevates you. You may not see it, but the heavens are aligning. The earth is responding. The winds are shifting. The waves of divine blessing are gathering strength. And soon, they will crash upon your life with such intensity that even your enemies will have to admit it was God. No human hand could have done this. No influence, no strategy, no connection could have arranged this. This is pure favor, unearned, undeniable, unstoppable favor. So lift your head, strengthen your faith, and stand firm. You are not forgotten. You are positioned. You are not behind. You are being prepared. You are not unlucky. You are chosen. Every delay has a purpose, and every disappointment was a setup for divine acceleration. When the wave of favor hits, it will redeem the years that felt wasted. It will multiply what seemed lost. It will restore what was stolen. And it will exceed every dream you once thought was too big. This is your moment to believe without evidence, to praise before manifestation, to declare before sight. Because faith is the key that unlocks the floodgate. Speak it, expect it, prepare for it. Because what is coming cannot be stopped by any force on earth. God's favor is not limited by economy, by connections, or by circumstances. It is divine. It moves mountains, shifts atmospheres, and reverses verdicts. Soon, the same mouth that called you forgotten will call you favored. The same people who said you'd never rise will watch you soar. The same ground that once held your tears will witness your triumph. And through it all, you will know it was God. It was always God. His favor was not delayed. It was a reserve. Reserved for such a time as this. Reserved for the moment when your heart was ready, your faith was mature, and your purpose was clear. So prepare yourself. Keep your spirit alert. your faith unshakable, and your words filled with gratitude. Because once the wave of favor hits, there is no going back. The old will pass away, the new will unfold, and you will walk into a season so abundant that even you will be amazed. God's favor is not coming to visit, it's coming to dwell. It's not coming to touch, it's coming to transform. Get ready. The floodgates of heaven are opening, and when they do, your life will never be the same again. Congratulations if this message reaches you before the 2nd of November, because it means heaven is aligning something powerful for your life. It means God is not done with you yet. It means a shift is on the horizon. A shift so divine that every delay, every disappointment, every unanswered prayer you've endured is about to make sense. This message didn't find you by accident. It found you because destiny has your name written upon it. Before this date arrives, God is about to reveal something that will change the rhythm of your entire life. There are moments in life when God sends a word not to inform you, but to awaken you. This is one of those moments. When God speaks, He doesn't waste words. He sends a message to prepare you for what is coming. If this message reached your heart before November 2nd, it is because God is about to lift the curtain on a new chapter. He is about to separate you from confusion, align you with purpose, and open doors that no human hand can close. You have cried in silence. You have walked through valleys that no one understood. You have questioned the delay, the rejection, the isolation. But hear this clearly: God saw every tear. God measured every pain. And He allowed every struggle not to break you, but to build a foundation inside you that could carry His glory. The pressure you have felt was not punishment. It was preparation. The fire that surrounded you was not to consume you. It was to purify what was inside you. You were being trained for a divine unveiling. So if you are hearing these words before November 2nd, rejoice, because it is a sign that heaven has marked you for divine acceleration. God is moving in ways you cannot yet perceive. The people who walked away were part of the clearing. The doors that closed were not rejection. They were divine redirection. God has been rearranging your environment to make room for something that fits your calling, not your comfort. Every season has a purpose. You cannot carry an old version of yourself into a new season of destiny. That is why God allowed certain things to fall apart, because they could not survive where He is taking you. The silence you felt was not absence, it was strategy. God hides His greatest work in the stillness. When you thought nothing was happening, He was orchestrating everything behind the scenes. He was aligning people, opportunities, and moments to intersect with your obedience at the appointed time. And that time is closer than you think. Before the 2nd of November, something will shift in the atmosphere around you. You will feel a stirring in your spirit, a divine unease, a sudden push to prepare to pray, to purify your space. Don't ignore it. It's not coincidence. It's confirmation. God is whispering to your heart, get ready. The same way He told Noah to build before the rain came, He is telling you now to prepare before the blessing arrives. Because when the flood of favor comes, it will come fast, and only those who are ready will be able to contain it. You see, God never moves without warning. He always speaks before he shifts. And those who hear the whisper before the wind are those he trusts the most. If you are hearing this, God trusts you. He trusts your faith. He trusts your endurance. He knows what you've gone through. And he knows you haven't given up. Even when you didn't feel strong, you still stood. Even when you felt forgotten, you still believed. That kind of faith cannot go unrewarded. Many people are waiting for blessings, but few are being prepared for them. God is not just sending increase, He's sending responsibility. He's not just opening doors, He's teaching you how to walk through them with wisdom. That is why the last season was heavy. God was not delaying. He was developing. You were being shaped into someone who can carry more without breaking. So before November arrives, sanctify your mind. Separate yourself from noise. The distractions around you are intensifying because the enemy senses what's coming. He wants to pull your attention away from preparation. He wants to fill your thoughts with doubt, fear, and comparison. But God says, silence the noise. There is something He wants to whisper to you in this hour. A strategy, a direction, a divine instruction that will unlock the next level of your destiny. Do not despise this season of waiting. Waiting is not wasted when God is in it. Waiting is the divine classroom of patience, where God teaches you to trust His timing even when you don't understand His methods. Every unanswered prayer is not a denial, it is a lesson in alignment. God is aligning your desire with His design. He's not just giving you what you asked for, He's giving you what you were created for. Some of you are standing in front of doors that look closed, but they are not locked. They are waiting for divine timing. When the appointed moment comes, what once resisted you will suddenly open with ease. That is how God works. He hides opportunity in obedience. He tests faith through delay. And then suddenly He rewards endurance with revelation. There's a reason God wanted this message to reach you before November 2nd. It's because He wants you to be aware of the spiritual shift that's about to happen. A season of separation will come before elevation. Certain people will distance themselves. Don't chase them. Certain environments will feel uncomfortable. Don't fight it. You're not losing anything. You're being repositioned. God is pulling you away from distraction so He can draw you closer to destiny. There's a special anointing resting on this time. God is going to surprise you. What looked delayed will suddenly accelerate. The promise that seemed forgotten will come alive again. The opportunity that slipped away will reappear in a better form. Because when God moves, He doesn't restore things as they were. He transforms them into something greater. You are entering a divine window, a window of favor, clarity, and purpose. But it requires discipline. You cannot mix this next season with old habits. God is calling you to rise higher, think deeper, pray longer, and believe stronger. This is not the time to give up. It's the time to gear up. The storm was never meant to drown you. It was meant to prove what you carry. You were designed to rise, even when the waves rise higher. When others panic, you must stand still and know that God is in control. The world may shake, economies may shift, people may change, but God remains constant. His promises do not expire. His word does not return void. If He said it, He will perform it. You may not see it yet, but the evidence is forming. Every delay is producing divine momentum. The breakthrough that will come after this waiting will not be ordinary. It will be historic in your life. You are not behind. You are being synchronized. God's clock runs differently from yours. He delays to protect. He withholds to perfect. And He waits to elevate. You thought you were being punished, but God was simply preparing the right environment for your manifestation. And when the right time comes, when the winds of heaven align with your obedience, no power on earth can stop what God has ordained for you. Not envy, not opposition, not even your own past. God's plan is greater than your mistakes. His mercy rewrites your story every morning. His grace rebuilds what pain tried to destroy. So listen, before the 2nd of November, take this seriously. Clean your environment, purify your thoughts, reconnect with your faith. Speak life into your atmosphere. Because when the flood of favor comes, it will not knock softly. It will hit like a wave. God is about to flood your life with signs that He has been listening all along. You are not forgotten. You are not abandoned. You are being positioned for recognition. Those who laughed will watch in silence. Those who doubted will witness your elevation. But remember this, your rise is not for revenge. It is for revelation. God lifts you not to boast, but to broadcast His glory through your story. He wants others to see that those who trust in Him will never be put to shame. You are about to step into days where things that once confused you will now make sense. You will look back and say, that's why it had to happen. The heartbreak, the loss, the confusion, it was all part of a divine equation that leads to your purpose. Nothing was wasted. Every pain had purpose. Every delay had direction. Every silence had significance. The same God who allowed the night is the same God preparing the dawn. And the dawn is closer than you think. Before November 2nd, you will feel a deep sense of clarity. Your spirit will begin to discern things that once overwhelmed you. You'll start seeing why certain people couldn't stay, why certain doors couldn't open, and why certain prayers took time. Because you'll understand, God was not withholding, He was protecting. He was saving you from premature exposure. He was shielding you until the right season arrived, and that season is now. Your name is being mentioned in rooms you haven't entered yet. Your destiny is being discussed in realms you cannot see. God is aligning people, plans, and paths to meet you at your moment of readiness. You won't have to chase opportunities. They will find you. Because when you are in alignment with divine purpose, what belongs to you will recognize you. Congratulations if this message reaches you before November 2nd, because it means you are chosen for a divine surprise. You are entering a window of supernatural reversal. What was meant for harm will turn into honor. What looked like loss will transform into legacy. God is rewriting your story with His own hand, and no one can edit what He has decreed. When God begins to move in your life, He does it quietly at first. He starts with whispers in the night, with a steering in your spirit, with thoughts that seem random but are divine direction. You might not see the full picture yet, but something deep inside you knows something is shifting. You can't explain it, but you can feel it. That's how you know God is working. Because His greatest moves are never loud, they are strategic. He works in silence so that when the revelation comes, there will be no doubt. It was God all along. The reason you're hearing this message now is because you're standing at the threshold of transformation. You are not who you were a year ago. You are not even who you were a month ago. God has been silently reshaping your inner world, your thoughts, your priorities, your desires. He has been detaching you from what doesn't serve your destiny and connecting you to what will carry you into the next dimension of purpose. The shaking you felt in recent days is not the end. It's the sign of a new beginning. Before November 2nd, your obedience will matter more than ever. God is testing hearts right now. He is watching who will trust Him in the unseen. He is searching for those who will move without full details, who will follow the voice of faith even when the map is unclear. If you can obey God in uncertainty, you will walk in clarity that others will never know, because revelation always follows obedience. When you take the first step, God reveals the next. When you move in faith, the path unfolds beneath your feet. Do not underestimate what a single act of obedience can unlock. Sometimes God doesn't change your situation until He first changes your position. He may ask you to leave a place, a friendship, a habit, or a mindset, not to punish you, but to promote you. God never subtracts without the intention to multiply. What looks like loss is often the seed of your next blessing. When God asks you to let go, it's because He has something greater that requires both of your hands to receive. Many are waiting for the 2nd of November as a date on the calendar. But for those who are sensitive in spirit, it represents something deeper, a spiritual threshold, a divine cutoff point where the old cycle ends and a new one begins. This is why your spirit has been restless. This is why you've been sensing a pull to pray more, to think differently, to be still before God. He is separating those who are merely interested in change from those who are ready for transformation. When God begins to lift you, He will first isolate you. He removes the crowd so He can refine your clarity. You may feel alone in this season, but you are not abandoned. You are being entrusted. God cannot elevate you among noise. He must remove distractions so your ears can hear what others ignore. The world celebrates company, but God values consecration. You are not called to fit in. You are called to stand out. So when He sets you apart, do not complain. It is a compliment from heaven. There will be divine interruptions in these days before November 2nd. Plans will shift. People will reveal their true nature, and opportunities you thought were yours will vanish. Don't panic. When God interrupts, it's because He is protecting you from invisible consequences. He knows what you cannot see. He sees the traps disguised as blessings. He sees the deceit hidden behind smiles. And when He blocks a path, it is because that road leads to delay. You may not understand it now, but later you will thank Him for every door that didn't open. God's timing is never random. There are appointed moments in destiny. divine intersections where obedience meets opportunity. And when that happens, nothing can stop the manifestation. But the key is readiness. God does not give blessings to impress you. He gives them to test you. What you do with what He gives determines whether you rise higher or remain the same. This is why He takes His time preparing you. Because unprepared blessings can become burdens. God loves you too much to give you what you're not ready to carry. So in these remaining days leading to November 2nd, purify your heart, cleanse your space, speak with intention, forgive quickly. Let go of grudges that poison your spirit. Do not enter the next season with the bitterness of the last one. God cannot pour new oil into a vessel still contaminated by resentment. The heart must be light to soar. The tongue must be disciplined to decree. The mind must be focused to discern. This is the moment to align everything within you with the will of God. You will begin to notice divine coincidences. Moments when you think of something and it happens. When someone speaks words that echo the thoughts you prayed about in secret. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations. God is letting you know, I'm here. I'm listening. Keep going. His signs are subtle but precise. When you walk with Him closely, you realize He has been speaking all along. Through the delays, through the quiet, through the little nudges that tell you to wait or move. Don't be afraid of change. Change is not chaos when God is behind it. Every divine change brings divine order. The discomfort you feel is growth. You're outgrowing environments that no longer reflect your spiritual maturity. You're outgrowing conversations that no longer feed your soul. That's why certain people feel distant. That's why you no longer enjoy what once entertained you. God is elevating your appetite. You are being prepared for higher spiritual food, deeper wisdom, stronger faith. The next move of God in your life will not be ordinary. It will not come through what you expect or from whom you expect. It will come in a way that leaves no room for pride. You will look back and say, it could only have been God. Because He is about to do something that defies human logic. The same people who thought you were finished will watch in awe as God lifts you beyond what they imagined. But this is not about proving anyone wrong. It's about proving God right. Every great shift begins with an invisible sign. Sometimes it's a sudden stillness. Sometimes it's a random encounter. Sometimes it's a deep urge to release control. When that happens, don't resist it. Flow with the spirit of obedience. God moves with those who move with Him. You cannot cling to the old and expect the new to unfold. Let go. Let God reorder your steps. Let Him close what must close and open what must open. You will never regret surrendering to His timing. There is a purification happening in the atmosphere. God is cleansing minds of doubt, hearts of fear, and hands of anxiety. He is reestablishing faith in those who thought they had lost it. You will begin to feel your confidence returning. Not confidence in yourself, but confidence in God's sovereignty. You will stop overthinking, stop fearing outcomes, stop questioning every silence. You will learn to rest in the truth that God's plan is not fragile. What He starts, He sustains. What He promises, He performs. And when He begins to perform, it will not be slow. It will be sudden. You will wake up one morning and realize everything changed overnight. The same places where you faced rejection will call you back with honor. The same ground that was barren will bloom with abundance. Because when God breathes, everything responds. Even the things that look dead will come alive again. You are entering a divine window of favor, but also of discernment. Not everyone who celebrates you is sent by God. Some are drawn by the light, but not assigned to your journey. That is why you must pray for clarity, not just opportunities. Clarity will protect you from counterfeit blessings, the ones that look right but lead wrong. God is not sending distractions wrapped in beauty. He's sending direction wrapped in purpose. The next few days are not just days on a calendar. They are spiritual preparation. God is rearranging the chessboard of your life. Every move He makes has meaning. Every piece He shifts has purpose. What looks like loss is strategic repositioning. What looks like delay is divine coordination. You may not understand every move now, but when the masterpiece is revealed, you'll see that nothing was wasted. If you can hold on just a little longer, you'll step into a season where your effort finally meets God's reward. You've been faithful in the hidden place. Now God is preparing to honor you in the open. The same way seeds grow unseen before they sprout, your obedience has been growing underground. And when it emerges, it will multiply beyond imagination. Congratulations if this word reached you before November 2nd, because it means you are not late, you are perfectly on time. God delayed certain things so they could arrive in divine order. He hid you while others were being celebrated. Not because He forgot you, but because your unveiling needed maturity. The gift was ready, but the vessel needed strengthening. Now the strengthening is complete. Now the stage is set. Now the winds are changing in your favor. Hold your peace. Guard your faith. Keep your eyes fixed on God. Something magnificent is about to unfold, not by your power, not by your connections, but by divine orchestration. Before November 2nd, the shift will begin. You may not see it with your eyes immediately, but your spirit will know. The old is breaking, the new is birthing. Every delay was direction. Every no was protection. Every loss was preparation. Now it is time. Stand firm. Speak faith. Stay ready. For God is about to do what no one expected. And He chose you to witness it firsthand. When God prepares to shift a person's destiny, He first begins by adjusting their atmosphere. He changes the air around you before He changes the situation within you. He allows discomfort not to destroy, but to detach. You might find yourself restless lately, unable to tolerate what you once ignored, uneasy with old routines that once felt normal. That is not confusion. That is transformation. It is the sign that your spirit is outgrowing your surroundings. When God starts stirring your environment, it means your season is about to expand beyond its current boundaries. The closer you get to a breakthrough, the louder the distractions will become. It is the law of divine progress. The enemy increases noise before divine revelation arrives. But those who know their God remain still in the storm. Stillness is not weakness, it is authority under control. When you remain calm while everything around you shakes, it shows you trust that God governs every detail. The waves may roar, but God holds the tide. The winds may shift, but God commands the air. The noise may rise, but your faith must stand taller. Because what is coming next is not random. It is orchestrated by divine precision. Every divine movement begins with a command from above. Nothing in your life happens outside of divine permission. When you understand that truth, you stop fearing loss and start trusting alignment. You begin to realize that every disappointment was a doorway, every rejection was a redirection, and every closed chapter was simply God turning the page. He does not need your permission to protect you, nor your understanding to bless you. God moves with intention, even in moments that seem confusing. His hand is shaping your future with invisible wisdom. If you have been feeling isolated, know this: God hides those He intends to use greatly. The silence is not punishment, it is separation for refinement. The ones who carry divine purpose often walk a lonely path, not because God abandoned them, but because He is equipping them privately for a public unveiling. You may feel unseen by people, but you are never unseen by God. Every quiet prayer you whispered in exhaustion reached the heavens. Every moment you held your peace when you could have fought back became a seed in the soil of your next blessing. Before the 2nd of November, God is inviting you into divine alignment. He is calling you to remove what no longer carries His presence. The habits, the mindsets, the relationships that drain your strength and distort your focus. This is not a punishment, it is purification. God does not send promotion into polluted spaces. He will cleanse the atmosphere first. That is why so many things around you are shifting right now. He is clearing your space to make room for His favor. The same way the earth must be tilled before the harvest grows, your life is being turned over so new blessings can take root. God is also adjusting your perception. You must learn to see delay differently. Delay is not denial, it is divine pacing. God paces His promises according to your capacity to receive them. If He gives it too soon, you might mishandle it. If He waits too long, you might doubt it. So He delivers it precisely when your spirit can carry it without collapsing. Trust His rhythm. His timing is exact. When the moment comes, it will not require effort. It will flow with divine ease. You will not have to chase it. It will recognize you. There is something sacred about divine timing. When your heart and God's will align, everything begins to synchronize. The opportunities that once ran from you will now run toward you. The people who misunderstood you will begin to remember you. The doors that seemed locked will open, not because you knocked louder, but because you waited wiser. That is the power of patience. It invites the blessing that belongs to you without compromise. The reason God gave you this message before November 2nd is to prepare your spirit for the new atmosphere that is about to unfold. You must not carry old energy into new seasons. Bitterness, fear, regret, these are weights that cannot travel to where God is taking you. This next phase requires a lighter heart and a clearer mind. God is not calling you to fight every battle. He is teaching you which ones deserve your strength. Peace is not found in the absence of conflict. It is found in the awareness that God controls the outcome. Some of you have been asking, when will it happen? When will things finally turn around? And God is saying, it already has. The shift did not start in your surroundings. It started within you. You changed. You prayed differently. You thought differently. You refused to give up when everything told you to surrender. And that inner transformation activated outer movement. Because before God changes your life, He changes your mind. Before He releases blessings around you, He releases strength within you. That strength is the evidence that His hand is upon you. When you truly trust God, you no longer panic when plans collapse. You understand that His protection often looks like rejection. The door that closed was not against you. It was for you. You will look back and realize that what didn't work out was the greatest mercy you ever received. God saves you not just from enemies, but from premature success, from misplaced loyalty, from paths that look right but lead wrong. His delays are hidden defenses. And when God decides it's your time, nothing can block it. His favor does not ask for permission. It bypasses competition. It ignores the opinions of others. When the divine decree is released, no voice can cancel what God has spoken. You are entering a phase where favor will find you without striving, where what you've been chasing will begin chasing you. Because when you align your heart with divine will, manifestation becomes effortless. In these final days leading to November 2nd, pay attention to your dreams, your instincts, and the subtle signs around you. God communicates in patterns. A repeated thought, a recurring image, a strong intuition. These are not coincidences, they are clues. He speaks softly to those who are listening. Do not drown His whisper in the noise of your doubts. The spiritual frequency of this moment is high. Tune your heart to it. Pray not for speed, but for sensitivity. Because sensitivity to God's direction will do what years of effort could never achieve. The blessing that is coming will not just elevate your circumstances, it will expand your purpose. You are being entrusted with influence, not for pride, but for purpose. God will use your story to heal others, your endurance to inspire, your faith to ignite the hopeless. This is why the pain was so deep, because the assignment is so great. The trials you faced were not random. They were training. You were being shaped for impact. And when God finally reveals what He was preparing, you will realize that every hidden season had meaning. You were never forgotten. You were being refined in the fire of destiny. The heat was uncomfortable, but it purified your intentions. The loss was painful, but it clarified your priorities. Now, the ashes will give way to beauty. The heaviness will turn into joy. The confusion will turn into divine understanding. The world honors speed, but God honors endurance. You have endured. You have kept faith when logic told you to quit. You have prayed when your strength was gone. That endurance has not gone unnoticed. Heaven records faithfulness in silence. Before the 2nd of November, the record of your endurance will begin to speak. What was invisible will become visible. The seeds you planted in secret will sprout in the open. Do not compare your timing to anyone else's. The clock of destiny does not run by human hands. When God writes your story, He designs every chapter with divine precision. What seems like delay to you is perfect sequence to Him. Others may seem ahead, but they are running a different race. Your finish line is not theirs. Your purpose is unique. So instead of worrying about speed, focus on alignment. Because when your timing meets His timing, acceleration happens without warning. You are stepping into a divine season where everything you've endured will suddenly connect. The puzzle pieces will align. The fog will lift. The prayers that once felt unanswered will return as blessings you didn't even recognize were connected to them. Because when God answers, He answers in ways that reveal His wisdom, not your assumptions. Congratulations again. If this message has reached you before November 2nd, it means you are standing under an open heaven. It means divine preparation is complete. The doors are about to swing open, and your name is about to be mentioned in places your feet have not yet touched. Be still, be faithful, be ready. For what is written for you will manifest exactly as God has decreed. No earlier, no later, but precisely on time.